हेलो।
जी सर, एक मिनट सर।
हाँ हाँ।
सही दिख रहा है सर?
स्क्रीन तो ब्लैंक दिख रहा है अभी।
अभी एक मिनट सर।
हाँ हाँ।
अब आ रहा है सर?
नहीं, ब्लैंक दिख रहा है स्क्रीन।
आपको ब्लैंक दिख रहा है? हम तो यहाँ
हाँ हाँ।
शेडिंग किए हुए हैं सर, एक सेकंड रुकिएगा।
आप शेयर किए हुए हैं?
हाँ सर।
बाकी
ये
लोग को दिख रहा है?
आप एक बार देखिए, आपको दिख रहा है सर? आपको को होस्ट कर दिए।
पोस्ट कर दिया आपने, ठीक है, मैं देखता हूँ। ना, अभी भी नहीं दिख रहा है।
मैं फिर से ये कर रहा हूँ सर, स्टॉप शेयरिंग करके। एक सेकंड सर, हम भी लॉग इन कर देते हैं सर। आप सर?
हाँ, अब दिख रहा है।
ठीक सर, एक सेकंड, मैं पार्टिसिपेंट को ऐड करना स्टार्ट करता हूँ। और
हाँ,
स्टार्टिंग में बता
करिए।
दीजिएगा सर कि वो रीनेम करने वाला जो ऑप्शन है, स्कूल
हाँ,
कोड,
ठीक
उसके
है।
बाद अपना नाम डालना जरूरी है अटेंडेंस के लिए।
ठीक है, ठीक है।
ठीक है सर, मैं ऐड करना स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ।
ठीक है।
यस मैम, मैं आपको भेज रहा हूँ मैम, एक मिनट।
उसको
Himanshu sir, you can unmute yourself, sir.
okay, but the video is not being started.
So please check sir once.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, all the participants. Good afternoon, Shailendra sir. So today's session is being conducted by one of our learned resource person, Mr. Shailendra Singh sir, who has been a close friend of mine, principal, great principal. So can we start, sir?
Yes,
Sir,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So then it goes over to you. Please start.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Participants are once again requested to please follow the norms. Please rename yourself using your school ID first, and then
School
after
code.
putting a space, yes, and the school code, yes, the CBSE school code, and thereafter you write your name. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I feel honored and fortunate enough to be invited to present this session before you all. Good evening, everyone. This is Shailendra, Principal Modern Public School, Kodarma. I have been in this profession for last 20 to 25 years, and through these many years, I have learned so many things related to TLP, teaching learning process. And since we all are teachers, we need to know the various ins and outs, that how we are going to create an atmosphere of joyful learning. This PPT has been created by me on the Handbook of Joy published by NCERT in 2020. And it is quite useful and helpful for all of us. That's why I tried my best to develop this PPT, and I would today try my level best to make this session fruitful, thought-provoking, and enlightening. So, before starting this session, I would like to ask a question, that what kind of qualities a teacher should have to create joyful learning? Dear participants, you can use your chat boxes to write your answer. What qualities a teacher, I'm repeating my question, what qualities teachers should have for creating an atmosphere of joyful learning? Please use chat box and write your answer. Hope you all will engage yourself to answer my question. Yes, polite. A teacher should be polite enough. Very good. Cool environment. Yeah, cool, friendly, and joyful environment. Very good answer. Mr. Sachin Kumar. Very good. Well said. Well said. Any other participants? You can use the chat box to note down your answer. What qualities a teacher should have to create the atmosphere of joyful learning? So, okay, no problem. I'll come to that also. First, let us talk about joyful learning. What is joyful learning? Joyful learning is a kind of TLP, teaching learning process, where a child feels satisfied, happy. He feels the sense of achievement. And not only child, even teachers also, in the role of facilitator and guide, feel satisfied at the end that he has done something for the children. So then, if this kind of satisfaction, happiness, and pleasures are derived during the process of learning by teachers as well as students, then this kind of learning we can call as joyful learning. Sir, please next. Please move the slide. Now the question is, what is joyful learning? As I said, that joyful learning is a learning through which a child, a teacher, whoever who are involved and engaged in the process of learning, when derive happiness, pleasure, and sense of satisfaction and achievement, then this kind of learning we can call as joyful learning. And I am very much sure that many of you still remember some of the teachers of your school days. I still remember one of my science teacher who used to teach me in class 6, 7, and 8. And how nicely he used to connect me with the topic, with himself, and with his way of explanation. I used to feel very engaged, involved, and engrossed. I used to wait for his period eagerly. And I believe not only me, many of you would have been in mind the one teacher who had been a kind of teacher we are talking about today. So dear teacher, joyful learning is nothing but creating a moment of aha, wow, wonderful, awesome. When such words, such adjectives begin coming out from our mouth about the teacher, about the learning process, about the learning atmosphere, then this kind of learning process we can claim as joyful learning. Yes, sir. Next, please. Now, there are certain characteristic features of joyful learning. And this, what National Education Policy talks about joyful learning, it simply says that deriving pleasure from a sense of achievement and accomplishment during the process of learning by both, by teachers as well as by students, then this kind of achievement or accomplishment once when feels after the completion of the topic, after the completion of the chapter, after the completion of the period or class, then this kind of learning we can call as joyful learning. And this kind of learning enable our learners to improve all 21st century skills. Today, you know that new education policy has been focusing more on inculcating 21st century skills. Since our students have to go outside after school and colleges to face the world, to compete in the global scenario, they need to possess certain skills like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, innovation, collaboration, and various skills that we need to teach today in order to make life of students successful, life of students full with satisfaction and achievement. We need to inculcate these 21st century skills, and this is what new education policy is striving upon. And not only this, new education policy is also focusing on the variety of learning processes like competency based learning, like experiential learning. So this can be created only when we will be successful in creating the joyful learning environment in our classroom. So for this, if once we succeed in creating it, it will facilitate in creating curiosity and inquiry in the minds of learner. It will help the learners to attain the feeling of creating something new. It will also help the learners to attain competencies required by them in real life situation. You know, in real life situation, they need to know different set of skills to counter day-to-day situations where they have to face. So I believe this joyful learning, if we succeed in creating, if we provide in classroom, this will solve the purpose. Next, please. Abhay sir, next slide, please. Now, creating joyful learning plans. Certain plans are there where we need to work upon. If we work upon those plans, we will definitely be in a position to create joyful learning in classroom. Now, first is nobility. It promotes transmission through reticular activating system. This means the kind of system which will be responsible for our wakefulness, means it will keep children wakeful, alert. It will help them to raise the level of their focus in the classroom. It will also help them to respond towards any kind of stimuli in their day-to-day life. So this joyful learning will promote nobility among the children. We will have to create stress-free classroom. I tell you, stress-free classroom here means that both teachers and taught need to be free from any sort of stresses. If there will be any kind of stress, any kind of fear, any kind of anger, any negative impulses will be there if in the minds of learners or in the minds of teachers, then in that case, joyful learning will not take place at all in the classroom. So here teacher needs to plan in such a way, plan their lesson in such a way where child do not feel insulted when he answers wrong in the classroom, where a child is not do not feel humiliated if he reads out something wrong. So we need to focus on all these things. We need to plan our learning, joyful learning plan in such a way which could keep children engaged, which could keep children focused. So that way we can be very, very successful in creating joyful learning plans. Now, we can talk about the impact of joyful learning. See, there are many impacts of joyful learning. When we talk of joyful learning, means this kind of learning is not teacher-centered, but this kind of learning is a kind of student-centric it becomes, because children feel more involved, they engage themselves, they involve themselves, and that way they claim themselves as one of the stakeholders, major active stakeholder of the learning process. So that way, this impact of, next please, Abhay sir, next impact of joyful learning. Yes, this way this learning process becomes student oriented. Children feel very much engaged and involved, and they become the central part of the learning process. Once they become central part of the learning process, they feel motivated, they feel inspired, they derive, joy, they derive a kind of excitement, curiosity. All these positive things begin emerging in the minds of learners. This also increases students' participation. And I tell you, when children feel happy and satisfied and derive the sense of accomplishment, more and more children would like to participate in the learning process. So we have to plan our lesson in such a way which could evoke pride, which could challenge them for brainstorming. We should ask questions in such a way where children must be in a position to reflect their learning, reflect whatever they have learned. So that way we need to plan our lesson in a very careful manner. Then only maximum student participation will take place. Then this will also help in increasing the authentic learning experiences through association with past knowledge and local environment. See, during joyful learning, what happens? Teachers often connect the content of chapters with outside world, with practical situation, with other subjects, with other pedagogy. So that way what happens, authentic comparison is made in the classroom and authentic learning takes place, and such learning retained for longer duration. Children feel very happy and satisfied, and they just do not forget things so easily because they have learned things by doing. They have experienced the knowledge. They have not just mugged up things. They have learned it with their own experience. So this kind of joyful learning helps them to retain this knowledge for longer duration. Then this is also be helpful to children in the way when they feel personalized, when the experiences, learning experiences are given to them in their personal way, means student to student. When modules and lesson plans are designed considering the different learning paces of children in the classroom, because in a classroom you find 40 children are there, and each children has different learning pace. Each children has different learning gaps. So those things a teacher need to keep in mind while designing his lesson plan, and if it is done properly, this will definitely help children to be more personalized, and this will definitely help to cater the needs, learning needs of each and every children, and will enhance the curiosity, the engagement, involvement of children towards teaching learning process in the classroom. So these are the few impacts which joyful learning could have on our day-to-day classroom teaching. Yes, please. Next slide, please. Now, while going for this joyful learning, a teacher should design lesson plans in such a way that they must excite students towards learning. The very first step towards learning is children must feel excited. Even teachers also who are going to the classroom must feel excited to teach. Passionate. A teacher must be passionate, must feel happy and joyous before delivering things before the student. So excite your lesson plan must be in such a way that it should excite students to learn more and more. It should challenge their thinking. Few questions must be of higher order thinking. You must include few questions based on topic which are of higher order thinking, which must challenge their knowledge, challenge their caliber, their abilities, their thinking. If this kind of things, if this kind of questioning we put in between the delivery of content in the classroom, this will definitely help children to feel more excited, feel more happy, feel more concerned and connected with the teacher, as well as they will develop more interest in the concerned subject also. See, your lesson plan must includes certain activities which should elevate level of dopamine. Level of dopamine means a child must feel happy. Dopamine is a hormone responsible for happiness. So your activities, your teaching, your explanation, your engagement of students must make them happy, must make them satisfied. Then only, then only your learning will be a joyful one. Otherwise, it will go in vain. Then the next one, which is also very, very important, that we need to reduce stress and anxiety. More often we talk of percentage of marks. More often we criticize students in classroom. You can't do this. You can't do that. You are so and so. You come from this family. You come from that family. So many irrelevant things we talk in the classroom. If we avoid these negative talks in the classroom, and if we focus on the positive aspects of children, if we focus on the positive traits of children, if we talk of the achievement of children, if we talk of the positive behaviors of children, definitely that will help to reduce stress and anxiety. Also, we need to be very, very friendly also with the children so that they may open up and put forward their question. They may ask question. We must allow them. We must be flexible. So teachers need to take all these points in his mind, keep all these points in his mind before talking of or before thinking of creating this joyful learning atmosphere. So your questions, your topics must excite students. You must challenge their thinking, their ability. You must elevate their level of dopamine, means you must increase their happiness level in the classroom. You must be successful in creating a fearless environment, atmosphere or environment free from stress and anxiety. Then if you are successful in doing all these things, I am sure, I am very much sure that you are successful in creating joyful learning. Yes, sir. Next, please. Now see, there is a science also behind this joyful learning, that if optimal learning only takes place in a classroom when there is when there is something to be done by teachers, to be done by students, to trigger brain to change in response to stimuli. So your stimuli must be such which could help children to respond positively. You must engage them, involve them. Then only this aha moment can be created. And joyful learning has a central thing, that is central output, that is aha movement. Wow, what a class, what a wonderful teaching today. It's both kind of, both kind of responses. A teacher also, receive, a children also receive. You also feel the same, and same is felt by children also, if class takes place in a joyful manner. If they feel happy, satisfied, if they feel motivated, if they feel inspired, if they feel that yes, they can do this, they have created this kind of sense of accomplishment, if they feel, then only you have been successful in creating joyful learning. Yes, sir. Please move to the next. See, joyful learning. Next, please, sir. There are certain strategies which we can use as a teacher in classrooms to create atmosphere of joyful learning. Now, what are these? One by one we can have. Rally Robin is one of the strategy where facilitator, you as a teacher, can give such kinds of questions to learners which have several answers. Like if you are going to class and you are going to ask features of certain thing, non-living things. Tell me the features of non-living things. So in that, what you do, divide your class into groups and ask the feature one by one from different groups, and they give one duty to other group to write the answer on the board. So this way, what will happen? Children will feel more engaged and involved. So this Raleigh-Robin method is very useful for the questions which have many answers, several answers. So this method we can utilize. Other method is something different. In this method, what we do, we create group of 4 students, and these 4 students are given different tasks related to the topic, related to the chapter, topic and subtopics. Group, from every group, first one is given the task of asking question. Second, from the same group will answer the question. Student 3 will add the response of the student, and student 4 will tell question and response of students as well as paraphrase it. So that way, the complete answer is being discussed in the class one by one, involving 4 students in a group. So that way we can have 10 groups, 9 groups, 8 groups, depending on the strength of the class. We can have these groups and we can put forward these questions, these topics in these groups, and that way we can allow them to come forward and question and answer and paraphrase the answer at the end. And this we can do in rotation, means first one can be given the duty of fourth one next time, second one can be given the duty of third one next time. So that way in rotation we can perform this. See, this method helps teachers to involve and engage children. Children will, derive pleasure in doing so. They will feel happy that they are being given certain task and they performed it well in the classroom. They got clappings, they got praise, they got, encouragement by their peer groups as well as the teachers. So this sense of achievement can be, inculcated through this method. Next is dictoglass strategy. This is a strategy to reconstruct the text by learners close to original text. In this, what we do, teachers give certain paragraph to different children and ask them to rewrite these paragraphs, these topics in their own words, using their own idioms and phrases, words, whatever they have learned so far. So that way, what is done? That way, we allow them to be creative in thinking. We allow them to comprehend something, because the topic is, we give them, we tell them to read and then close the book and then tell them to write the topic, the content of the topic, and in their own words. So this way we foster creativity. This way we foster literary skill among the children. So this is also one of the strategies which can be used. The next one is think, pair, and share. This is kind of activity where a teacher chooses a text to ask questions from the children. Children will think about the topic, they will find them. Means this activity we do in the group of 2. Children will be divided into 2. They will have freedom to choose whom they want to choose as their peer group. And topic or questions will be asked by the teacher in the classroom. They will be allowed to think for 2-3 minutes, and then one by one they will be asked to answer. So this way a broad discussion can take place. Larger chapters which are very large, those chapters can be finished in much easier way by involving the children. And if they miss something, teachers in the role of guide or facilitator can add the answer. If they miss some points, some clarity is not there in their answer, so teacher will explain that in the classroom. So that is one, this is one a good method which can be implemented. Then visual art work. You know, children are different type of children are there in the classroom. Some children learn things by seeing images, sculptures, making collages on the topic. They do not learn merely by the text. Textual things they do not like to, read. So if such children are made shown pictures, images, sculptures, models, collages, or they are given, duty to make all these things, definitely they will feel much more, excited, much involved, much happy. So this method can also be very, very helpful. The next is concentric circle. It's a kind of method in which a circle is formed and in which facilitator give a number of question facilitator frames and give questions to each participant, and each participant just pass on the question to the next, and the next one answer, then next one ask another question from the next. So this way this continues into a circle. So this way this method is very, very useful, because this way we involve almost all the children. All children get chances. Otherwise, what happens during revision classes? Only few children raise their hands and they answer, and rest are left out. So this method we can apply to involve and engage almost all the children, and it is very, very beneficial. Yes, please. Next, please. Now, next is fistball. This method is also very, very useful. In this, what is done? Large group discussion can be held through this method. Class will be divided into small group of 4 or 5 students, and teacher will give some topics to discuss in groups of to the students. A ball is placed, and in that chits will be made on different topics, and from each group one will be asked to come and pick the chit, and whatever the topic will be written on the chit, that group will discuss, and then discussion and answering session will take place after the 10 minutes of discussion. This session will start, and this way in a very short span of time, by involving almost all the children, while we explain in class, what we find that only 20 to 30% children remain engaged and involved. Fully, rest all, maximum of the most of the children remain, they remain bodily present in the classroom, but mentally they roam somewhere else. So in order to stop them roaming somewhere else mentally, we can follow this fistball strategy. We can involve them in doing so. Now next is graffiti board. This is another simple learning strategy. In this also we can divide children into group of 4, and in this cards will be used on all. From each group, one will be asked to pick out one card, another will pick out the card, and then third one will ask the question, and fourth one will answer. So this way, and the last one will paraphrase, clarifies, and teacher present over there in the class will praise the answer, will add the answer, will help the children to know the answer and to write the answer. So this way, this graffiti board will also be very, very useful. Then another is similar kind of, that is pen and paper. This is similar kind of, but this is little different, because there are certain things, certain topics are there where codes can be made, and these codes children can be asked to decode and answer. They themselves can be asked to frame codes, and they can be asked to answer before the class. Next one is crack the code. So in this also, teachers themselves can prepare variety of codes like I still remember one of the code being prepared by my science teacher, Baby Geo, just to remember the colors of rainbow. We were told to remember Baby Geo. Baby Geo here means each letter in Baby Geo stands for a particular color. So that way we were made to learn particular, almost all the colors in the rainbow. Then we were also, by geography teacher taught us that how to remember the name of planets, 8 planets. He said that, he said us one sentence you need to learn, and that what was that sentence? Can anyone write in the chat box? Just to remember the name of 8 planets, what is the sentence you can suggest your students to learn? Can anyone in the chat box write the sentence being used to learn the name of 8 planets? No issue, no issue, no issue. My very educated mother just said us about nuts. In this, if you see, each word has the name of first planet. So that way, there are many such codes which can be created by teacher, or even children can also be told to create, codes, and they can decode it in the classroom. So that way it will be easy for children to learn. The next one is role play or crack the code. In this, what is done, a character is being given to children, and what children is expected to do, children used to live up to that character. And if suppose he has been given the character of a cell, plant cell, so that child will dress up himself, or he will use some props like cell, and then he will tell all the features of cell in the classroom. If a child is being given the character of vegetable, then that child will prop up or dress up as a vegetable, will come in the class and tell the entire class about the qualities and benefits of the vegetable. So this way, this is something, the creative way to involve and engage children to learn the basics of the topic we are teaching in the classroom. So that way the child which will, play the role of vegetable will feel very happy and satisfied after explaining, and other children will also feel happy and will like to participate in such activity. Another is hot seat. Hot seat, you might have seen KBC. So we can create one such hot seat in the classroom, and questionnaire we can prepare on the chapter, and we can give children the questionnaire, not to us. Children can be given the questions, and they one by one can ask, and that way if the participant failed to answer, the teacher can answer there. So this will also be one of the best teaching strategy one can adopt to make learning a joyful learning. The last one is DRTA, directed reading thinking activity. It's a comprehensive activity in which teacher will read a text and ask children to make questions and do predictions. See, this is something a teacher will do. For example, a teacher is going to teach a story, and a story has a number of paragraphs. A teacher can ask a particular child to read the first paragraph, and then ask other children to just predict, make prediction, what will happen next. You just assume, just predict. So that way we can connect children with the story, we can connect children with the topic, we can connect children, and we can help children to increase their imagination power, their creative thinking, their critical thinking. We can increase, inculcate among them. So these are the methods we can utilize, use in the classroom. Yes, please. Next, please. See, this way we can do. For example, there is one concept number we are taking. See, this is the example of integrated lesson plan. Today, NEP is talking about integrated lesson plan, means whatever we are going to teach for a week, though that particular topic or theme must be there in almost all the subjects we are going to teach. Whether if it is a class of 1, it must have books like EBM, EBS, and then this math, Hindi, English. These are the basic things we are going to have in the class 1. So in this, we need to integrate only those chapters which are having the theme like numbers. In this it is given. So in almost all the classes, we have to follow this strategy of integrated lesson planning. Earlier what we were doing, I can see some of the participants raising their hands. We will have open house session at the end. Please put your hands down. I request all the participants to put your hands down. We will have open house session at the end, and that time you can ask your question. Please put your hands down. So integrated lesson planning we have to follow, and if we do it sincerely, if we plan in properly, definitely we will be in a position to create joyful learning classroom. Yes, please. Next, please. Please move to the next. Abhay sir. Yes, yes. See, kitchen today is going to be the best learning place for children. There are so many things which we can teach children in the kitchen. Kitchen can play the role of a lab of learning. So many things can be taught. We can teach them math, we can teach them science, we can teach them geography, we can teach them literature, we can teach them, commerce. So many things today we can teach children in kitchen. How? Let's move forward. Yeah, next please. See, these are the things we can inculcate, teach children in the kitchen. 21st century skills we can teach them: critical thinking, creativity and innovation, collaboration. We can teach them. We can teach them communication. We can teach them information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy. We can teach them flexibility, adaptability, leadership and responsibility. We can teach them initiative and self-direction, social and cross-cultural interaction also we can teach them in the kitchen. How? Let's move to the next slide. See, in kitchen, what are the activities is done? Mixing and matching different ingredients. When you are going to cook something, you are going to make some items, you need to mix and match different ingredients. For example, if you are going to simply make a cup of tea, you need to mix what? You need to mix water, you need to mix milk, sugar, tea. So all these ingredients, you need to know that what ratio, in what ratio you have to mix to make it ready for drink, fit for drink. So mixing and matching different ingredients, learning and applying the science behind kitchen process, all these help us in critical thinking. क्या मिलाएं, कितना गर्म करें, कौन कौन सा चीज मिलाएंगे तो एक नया टेस्ट आएगा, है ना? So all these things we do, we collaborate, we ask our sister, We ask our mother, we ask our brother. If we fail in or if we forget something while cooking, we ask from them. Means that way we collaborate, we talk to them, we communicate with them, we search on Google. So many things we do. Doing all these things, what we learn, what skills we develop. We develop skills like critical thinking. We also learn about various kinds of cuisines of various states and countries, various kinds of foods, idli, dosa, chapati, rajma, rajma chawal, you might have heard about. So all these belong to a particular state. If you talk of idli and dosa, this belongs to southern states. If you talk about rice and fish, it belongs to what? Eastern states, where rices are grown in, plenty. So what we are learning here, we are also learning here the social and cross-cultural interaction while making all these foods items. We are learning, we are interacting with people of different globes. When we cook this pulao, when we cook this Chinese items, so what we learn, suddenly things come that this food has come from China. So that way, cross-cultural interaction takes place. We also, while creating new recipe as per the financial condition and family preferences, what we do problem solving, because in a house there are 4 members or 5 members, and they have different tastes, different interests. They want different foods to be cooked for them. So what we do, we create a kind of recipe which could be liked by all of them. So that way we solve what? Problem. So that way a large number, almost all the 21st century skills can be inculcated or developed among children by telling them to visit kitchen, by giving them assignments related to kitchen. They will learn all these things. So kitchen could be a very good place, a learning lab for children, and they will learn things by doing. Means experiential learning will take place in the kitchen. They will develop this competency based learning, because they will compete, they will do themselves, and whatever problems they will encounter, they will solve by themselves. So they will have leadership quality also. They will feel responsible also, that they have to save certain amount of sugar for the next day to serve tea to papa. So that sort of things may happen. So this responsibility, problem solving, information literacy, they will search on net, Google, they will go through various websites to explore the variety of information related to the various food items to be cooked in the kitchen. So kitchen can be a very good learning place for the children. Yes, please. Move to the next. Now see, role of teacher is very important. How he can motivate children to connect with the joyful learning process. He can conceptualize ideas that connect activities in the kitchen with the topics, subtopics and subjects. For example, if a math teacher in junior classes are going to talk about shapes and size, weight, they can tell the children to go and see different kind of items being kept in the kitchen to understand the shapes, that what is circle, what is cylinder, what is triangle, all kind of utensils one can find in the kitchen. So practically a child can see the shapes. Practically you can, when you are teaching about weights, when you are teaching about length, when you are teaching about timings, all these can be, connected, can be, mm, shown to children in the kitchen. So that way, they, the teachers can conceptualize ideas by enabling them to enter into kitchen and uh, perform their assigned activities based on the topics and subjects. Provide them examples of real world issues that engage students' interest, encourage deep thinking among them. Teachers can also plan activities to give opportunity for students to do things independently. See, if they are allowed, they are told to make something in the kitchen, definitely they will get an opportunity for themselves. They will plan for first of all, then they will execute these plannings one by one. So this way, what we are doing, we are helping them to do things independently without any help of others. So that way we are making them independent, self-dependent. So that way this kitchen will be very, very helpful for them. Teacher must act as the initiator, guiding students from the side and co-creating the learning in the process. So teacher must help children to guide them. They should not feel that they are the only source of knowledge. They must play the role of facilitator, role of a guide. They must initiate. Initiation must be made by the teacher first of all. Then only children will come forward and they will involve and engage in the learning process. Teacher also can include learning through kitchen activity in the annual pedagogical plan of the school. See, as a leader, as principal, every principal now has to develop annual pedagogical plan related to the transaction of, curriculum in the school. So in that also this kitchen activities can be included by the teachers, and almost in all the subjects these activities can be included. So this way a kind of different experience we will be able to provide to children to be happy and satisfied. Yes, please. Next, please. We can also help them to learn how to integrate homemade meal with economics, uh, with health and hygiene, with environment. We can help them to understand. We can help them to integrate the knowledge. We can help them to apply the knowledge of economics, knowledge of health and hygiene, knowledge of environment with the homemade meal cooked in the kitchen. We can help them to integrate. We can help them to find out, explore food and history. See, there are so many food items that were not the part of our country that traveled to our country from other countries through the invaders. They came to our country. These various food items came to our country. So that way teachers can integrate food along with food and the history. Facilitate learning through science, through kitchen. Learning science, this ingredients of various food teacher can talk about. Teacher can talk about table salt, that NaCl, table salt is nothing but NaCl which we eat. So that way the acid which are used for cleaning purposes. So all these can be talked about by teachers in the classroom to integrate science. Teacher can integrate storytelling with food. Food related story can be, told in the classroom. So this way, variety of things teacher can do in order to make the classroom a joyful classroom. Yes, please. Next, please. So these many skills, basically through joyful learning, we teachers are going to promote, inculcate, develop among the children. These are the need of the hour, demand of the time. We have to foster and inculcate this 21st century skills. Then only we can make our students a successful ones. Yes, please, next one. The final takeaway. See, joyful learning is a kind of learning where a child must feel free from all sort of negativity. A child should feel fearless, free from tension, stress, free from the sense of humiliation. A child should feel happy and satisfied. A child should feel the sense of creating something new. A child should learn concept very clearly, and that too by doing himself. A child should develop, you know, uh, develop the sense of leadership. Child should start working in collaboration, communicate effectively. So if all these a child is able to do, then the child can attain the aha movement, which is the basic aim of joyful learning. So this is how the session today comes to an end. Now I would ask participants to put forward their questions in the chat box. If they want, they can ask questions related to the topic today. I'm very much, I'd be happy to answer the questions when asked by them. If you feel like, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Participants can ask questions.
Participants can unmute themselves.
Okay. Means I think there are no questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
for your precious time, sir.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am. Thank you, Dr. CB sir. Thank you,
Helping us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the participants, for listening me. So
Okay,
patiently.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The attendance link has been given. It will be active
Thank
till
you, sir.
5:15.
Okay.
So let us conclude this.
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, मैं बनाने दीजिए ये मैं ये थोड़ा सा बना लेता हूँ तो फिर गड़बड़ा जाएगा